This is the first of 5 videos showing you some patterns you can play over 5 major scale forms. If you're unfamiliar with any of these patterns, you may want to check out my lesson on 5 ways to play a major scale. I'll leave a link for that in the description. I'm going to show all these scales in the key of D major, but these are all movable scale forms, so you can play them, and you should play them in any key you like. We're going to start with this scale form that begins on string 5, finger 4. And now here's the pattern. This is called playing in thirds. You start on the first note of the scale and then skip a note to play the third note of the scale. The second note is the interval of a third above the first note. And then you play the second note of the scale, skip a note, play the third note of the scale form, skip a note, and so forth. Once you've played the highest note of the form, you're going to play your way back down. Go back to the second to highest note of the form and skip a note going down. Go back up one note, skip down, and so forth. Now to finish this out, I'm going to go 1 fret lower than our starting note. This is the leading tone, and then come back to where it all began. You want to be able to play this on the rest of these scale forms as well, so let's check out this scale form that also begins on the 5th string with the second finger. First, here's the scale form. And now with the pattern. First note of the scale form, skip up. Second note of the scale form, skip up. Now here, we've played the highest note of the form, so start playing your way back down. Skip a note, skip down, and so forth. And again, I'm going to play down past my starting note to the leading tone, or 1 fret lower than our starting note, and then return to that starting note. This next major scale form begins on the 6th string with your pinky. And now with the pattern. Play your first note and skip a note. Play the second note of the scale form, skip a note. Once you've played the highest note in your scale form, start playing your way back down. There's the second to highest note of the form, skip a note going down, come back up, skip down, and so forth. And again, we're going to play past our starting note to our leading tone, and that leads us back to the first note of the form. And now this major scale form that begins on the 6th string as well, this time with the second finger. the pattern. First note, skip up. Second note, skip up. Here we are on the highest note of the form. Play your way back down. Skip a note. Next note, skip a note. Down to our leading tone, and back to our tonic, or our first note of the scale. And finally, this form that also begins on the 6th string with the first finger. And then with the pattern. First note, skip a note. Second note, skip a note. Third note, skip a note. Here we are on the highest note of our scale form. Play your way back down. Skip a note going down. And as with all the others, play past your tonic or your starting note to your leading tone, and then end on the tonic. Video number 2 in this 5-part series is coming soon, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss that. In the meantime, I do encourage you to come up with your own patterns. It's a great way to learn the fretboard.